Good morning, St. Augustine. Your access to the voices of top local newsmakers starts now. Here's your host, Liz Ryan.
Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning in. I have a fascinating guest with me this morning. I'm very excited about this interview. It's Mr. Eric Sachs, the president of Operation Lifeline. Good morning, Eric.
Thank you. Good morning. It's so great to be here with you.
Eric with a C and a K. Your parents spared no expense, huh?
That's right. It's funny. I have a recent one. Somebody yesterday gave me the CH on my name because they'll see the CK. And that can't be right. Let's go with CH. But yeah, no, CK.
A little unusual spelling. I like it. A little fancier than usual.
It seems more complete to me.
Yeah, more complete. I like that. So, Eric, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up on Long Island in New York. My father was a New York City cop, and in the 70s and 80s. And when he retired, we moved down to Florida. So I moved down to Florida in 89-ish. And I finished up high school down here, and then then went off into the Air Force. And at 17, spent 26 years traveling the world, living all over the place. And then when I retired in 2020, came right back. And instead of, I had originally lived in South Florida, but when we came back, moved up to Northern Florida, and I absolutely love it here.
And why the move up here to Northern Florida?
Honestly, it's a few things. One, I kind of tend to like the temperatures a little bit cooler, so Jacksonville's got that going for us. But also the schools, the people. It's South Florida was very crowded. Where we are up here is getting more crowded, but it's got a better feel. I like the feel here.
More family oriented, maybe.
Family oriented, exactly. This is a wonderful place to live.
And you went to high school in Florida?
I did. That was down in South Florida. Graduated high school down there. And so funny thing about my high school graduation, I didn't actually walk the stage because I was in basic training. So my graduation was on the 15th of June in 1994, and I was in basic training on the 13th of June. And I had to have a special note signed by my guidance counselor saying he doesn't have his diploma, but he's filled all requirements. And so I went in just about as early as you can go.
So you were in basic training already when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Why so young?
I think it's kind of my personality. Once I make a decision, I go all in on it. And once I was resistant to going toward the military. My father did serve way back in Vietnam. And I do have other family members who've served, but I wasn't so much interested in it until probably my senior year of high school. And I was looking at options and looking what all my friends were doing, and everyone's going off to college. And I wasn't a great student. There were colleges. College was an option for me, but I knew I wasn't a great student. I knew that school was not something I was really interested in. So I started looking at the military, and I was one of those people, I wanted to get out and explore and see something new. And so I did. I went off to the Air Force. I did about 6 years enlisted. And then at that point, I realized, hey, I'm at a level in my life where I could go back to school. And so I let the Air Force send me on a scholarship to college. And then came back in as an officer and then continued my career. It's been amazing.
How did you choose the Air Force?
Oh, that's a tough one. So, so my father, again, serving, his time was in the Army, and he said, look, before you're going to do anything, because originally I wanted to go in the Marines, he said, you're going to talk to every one of the services, all the recruiters. And it was the smartest thing
That's a great
that he
idea.
did. So because I had the opportunity to see that there's a difference, because you don't know this as when you're coming out, if you have no experience, you're like, the military's the military. What does it matter? I want to do the cool one. Let's be Marines. But there are different cultures.
Stop. You just said Marines are the cool ones?
Yeah, well, most kids are probably thinking the Marines are the cool. And you know what? As an airman, I will tell you that Marines are cool. I've deployed under the Marines. I was on a base where I was one of the few airmen, and they loved me. Some of my colleagues, they like to call me a chameleon. I can blend in anywhere. But yeah, when I went into the various offices, I loved the Marines. I truly did. The Air Force had a feel to it, though. It was just one of those, I felt that what I brought was going to be more relevant there. But that was just a feel for me. I remember, again, talking to the Navy. It was one of those, there was just a different feel to it. And they all are unique, certainly in their own ways. And I love working with all the services, but the Air Force was that was what called to me, loved my time there. And
we have to say props to Army Navy.
Yeah,
we don't mean
absolutely.
to undermine them at all.
No. And heck, I've even worked with the Coast Guard, and I love the Coast Guard. I haven't had a chance to work with it, and the Space Force just yet. That's a little bit after my time. I helped sign some people from the Air Force to the Space Force, but I haven't had an opportunity to work with that particular service. But I've worked with everybody. I love them all. We all serve such an important function, and it's not competing; it's complementary.
What was the most interesting or challenging mission you went on in the Air Force?
There's so many, but it's really got to be the one that's most directly related to the work I'm doing now. It's when I was part of a provincial reconstruction team in Afghanistan for a year. It was a part of a 15-month deployment, because there were 3 months of train-up before we even left the country, and then 12 months in country. And my job was we were there as part of a team that was helping to build infrastructure for the Afghan people. And some of it was as simple as, getting roads into places that have never had roads, but putting in medical clinics and putting in schools and just that basic infrastructure they need to rise as a society. And we were operating in some of the most austere and dangerous conditions that you can be operating in, and trying to work construction when you're also worried about things like working against the Taliban and other organizations like that who have everything to gain by disrupting your efforts. I don't think it gets any worse than that. And that's why when I came here, I'm like, I can build without anybody shooting at me. This is easy.
That must have been incredibly rewarding.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, it was.
Because you're not knocking things down in that instance, or tearing things apart or leveling things. You're building things.
Exactly. And it's funny because I'm glad you brought that up, because I have a lot of people who think the military is all about
destruction.
We do, because we joke. One of the things our mission is breaking things and killing people. But that it's so much more than that. I mean, the military is another arm of diplomacy, right? We're out there working with different countries to help elevate them, because it's the long game. You've got to play the long game. You know that if you have, we always use the term in the military age male, right? Somebody who is at that age, there's no opportunities for them. There's nowhere for them to go. There's no way to support their family. They're going to be driven into extremism when there's no other options. It's the same for us here, though. It's important to give people hope. And inspire them. And some of the work we were doing out there was, and I was working with the young people out there. I was working with a lot of the same type of displaced people I work with in my job here. Work with women's groups in Afghanistan, trying to help them find their place in that society. It was amazingly rewarding. And that's the kind of stuff I got to do my entire career. I love it.
And endeavors like that are likely preventing future wars.
Exactly. That's why we do what we do. It's more than, as I said, it's more than killing people and breaking things. We've got to do these other things because it's going to prevent those future wars. And also, I love to take the opportunity to let them know what Americans are all about, right? I need a lot of these Afghans, a lot of these young people that I would meet with out there. They hear things, right? That's where they're getting their information. But when you get to actually meet somebody like me, and I come and I talk with you and I explain everything that is what we're doing here, and I talk about the difficulties and I talk about the challenges on both sides, but having that honest dialogue helps them, again, feel more secure with you and gives them hope for the future. So, yeah, I love that work.
You must have learned so many different skills that really were a great foundation for Operation Lifeline. And you also had mentioned to me in passing before that you have a communications degree. Where'd you fit that in?
Yeah. So, as I said, I went into the Air Force right out of high school and was very fortunate that I took advantage of the education opportunities while I was in. And then I got selected for scholarships and got selected for programs. So the military got me with a high school diploma, or barely a high school diploma, right? And got my associate's, bachelor's, and 2 master's degrees.
Wow.
All through my military service. So that is the type of people that the military is trying to build. So a thinker who can make a difference beyond killing people and breaking things.
That is
But, yeah.
so inspiring. What are your 2 master's degrees in?
One is in communication. I had an opportunity to go to George Mason University right outside of D.C. in Virginia. It was absolutely amazing program there. My other was when I went to Air Command and Staff College at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama, and that's in military arts and science.
Are you also a doctor and a lawyer?
No.
I mean,
Well, but so to do what we do in the nonprofit world, you kind of have to be able to do everything. I will tell you that what has been great about living in that kind of, I hate to say it, bureaucracy, because that being in a large federal government for that long, is you get really good at knowing how to read those documents and understand and navigate the bureaucracy. I tell people all the time, I love rules because rules let me know where my left and right limits are. And then I can find ways, not around the rules, but within the rules to get what I want done rather than this blanket, no, you can't do that. It's too complicated. I'm like, no, show me where it's written and I will find a way to navigate it so we can make progress. And that's been a huge factor in our success as an organization.
you are an amazing person. I have to say, you're truly an inspiration. I don't know how many hours there are in your day, but wow, you've really packed a lot into your life so far. You're listening to Good Morning St. Augustine. I'm your host, Liz Ryan, chatting with a very fascinating person this morning, Eric Sachs of Operation Lifeline. I have to say, your kids are lucky to have such a wonderful role model. Eric, tell me about your family.
Oh, so we started late in life. I was married once before, and we didn't have any kids. And after I got divorced and met my current wife, we got married. We got married in 15, and we're older, and we both wanted kids. So it's like, okay, married in 15, first kid 16, second kid 17. Okay, we're done. So, but where we are is that puts us later in life with very young kids. I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. So doing that while balancing all of this is really interesting. I'm glad you brought up the kids thing, because I've asked this of myself, because the life I'm living right now is very different than the life I lived as a kid when my dad, was a New York City cop and I didn't see him much because he was always working. And my mom was hanging wallpaper to help us make ends meet. And I guess I thought of what they did as a job in the traditional sense of a job. It's what they need to do, and it's the reason I don't see them. But now my kids are growing up with a lot more of me around, and then also getting to come with me the places where I once brought my daughter to a radio interview with me because of a daycare thing. I'm like, and she gets to see that, and she gets to see me give speeches and opening facilities and working with veterans. I bring them out to that, and I just wonder how that's going to shape their lives, because I don't know. It's interesting. My son, though, we ask him, so what do you want to do when you grow up? And most recently, it was one of my favorite things. He's like, his best friend, Zach, lives across the street. And he thinks of me and my friend David, who work Operation Lifeline. He says, Zach and I are going to get a construction business, and we're going to build houses for poor people. I'm like, that is so cool,
that is
right?
So fabulous. Your kids are lucky to be exposed to so many different, wonderful, healthy things, interesting things. I think kids spend way too much time staring at screens these days.
Exactly.
And it sounds like your kids get so much exposure to really cool stuff. You do life good. You're good at life.
I'm trying. It's not easy. I'm definitely not doing it perfect. I'm a great spokesman for myself. That doesn't mean that I'm necessarily doing everything as well as I'd like to, but I'm trying, and I try to be very self-aware, self-conscious, understand the impact that I'm having on everybody else. And that kind of guides me as a person.
We need more of that in this world, Eric. So the way I came across you in Operation Lifeline, Eric, is because I was inspired by the story of Sergeant Roy Wilbur and how Operation Lifeline partnered with St. Johns County to rehabilitate his home. Tell me about that project, Eric.
Oh, my gosh. Just such an amazing project. I will say that right now we've got a million different things, a million irons in the fire. We're building a subdivision right now. But I will tell you that Roy's house is the hardest thing we've done so far, by far.
Why? Why was it so challenging?
His house, honestly, is a home. Well, I'll give you the background on it. So Roy served in Vietnam. He is truly a war hero. He was twice wounded. 2 separate engagements. He's got a Bronze Star. He was eventually medically retired, and he came back home to St. Augustine, where he had grown up, and he got himself a house. And he lived in that house for over 40 years. And that's the house that we came upon. He's been in there with limited income because his service disabilities that he's got, but he does have some income. And he's a proud Marine, right? That's what he did in service. So he maintained this house himself for many years, for these 40 years. But the last couple decades, it's been getting harder until when we first heard about Roy and we were told by somebody in the county, you need to go visit, take a look. We walked into the house and it was very clear to both my partner David and I, it's like, this is a demo. I don't know what can be saved here. I don't know what we can do. And we had our allocation from St. Johns County of $40,000 that we could potentially put into it. That's what we've got grant amounts for it. And we're like, $40,000 is barely going to touch this. And so we started to think on it, and I started calling some of my friends. I've got a great network here that I get to work with, and I have great friends in the Builders Association. Northeast Florida Builders Association is one of the largest in the country, by far the largest in Florida. And they've got this great arm called Builders Care, which is their nonprofit extension that focuses on veterans just like we do. So we that's how we collaborate so much, and I serve on their board. And I brought it to them. I'm like, this is unacceptable how this man is living, but I don't have the capacity to fix this.
Mm-hmm. And he had no air conditioning, no running water.
Gosh. So yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, the house itself, the structure was sketchy at best. But then if you look at the roof was garbage. The siding was garbage. You could put your hand in certain parts of the house and reach inside his house.
Right into the house. He
had no power, no running water. Obviously no AC. And I mean, think about it. The heat index out there is 110 degrees and he's living in this box.
I don't like walking from my house to my car without AC.
Oh my gosh.
That 2-minute walk without AC. I don't even like that.
I don't know. And while we're there, I'll say that I'm the one with the big heart, and David is the one who steps back and goes, I just don't see what we can do. So immediately I'm sold on Roy, because Roy is fantastic. But Roy is just the most kindest, and he had no expectations of anything from us. It was his daughter who even brought this up. Right? He never asked for anything.
She's the one that reached out.
She's the one who reached out to the county and said, I need some help for my dad. I can't get him out of this house. Is there anything that can be done? And then we went from there. But yeah, so we're having that initial meeting with Roy, and Roy just wins over David as well. It's one of those, he looks at me, he's like, oh, darn it. We'll find a way. We're going to do this. And so, yeah, I called my friends over at the Builders Association. I started working closely with the county because we looked at different pots of money that we could potentially work. And it ended up being this amazing success from a house that should have been unfixable. But we were able to come in and do this a very unique way. We got a mix of federal dollars, of state dollars, of local dollars, of donations, personal donations, corporate donations, and then in-kind donations. A bunch of the local builders are like, look, let me send my team out there. No bill, I'll just take care of it. We had so many teams come out and do that. It was absolutely amazing.
Volunteers.
Yes. And then one of our first calls when I went to the Builders Association, they brought it up to the Hometown Heroes ride. And I don't know if you're familiar with those guys. They do that big ride at the Harley dealership here in St. Augustine every year. And they made Roy their beneficiary for the ride that we had early this year. And they were able to raise enough funds between all of that we could go out and we rebuilt a house for Roy. And it's amazing. You've got to see the pictures. I hope your listeners get to see because it's just so amazing.
Thank you to St. Johns County for posting the video on their website and on their socials. It was really something to watch.
Yeah.
It sounds to me, Eric, like just even the paperwork part of it would be overwhelming. All of the different organizations involved and the funding coming from so many different places, just that in itself is a Herculean feat. And then you have the real hands-on work of actually building. Did you have to rebuild the frame?
So much of it did. So we were able to save as much as we could of the structure because again that saves funding. Fortunately, a lot of the work the wood that was damaged was not structural. It was things that we could replace without a lot of concerns. But there were some points inside that we absolutely had to do some work to shore up the structure. And it was, like you said, on both fronts, the paperwork aspect and then just the building the house and the coordination with the multiple agencies and then it all coming together at the last minute. It was just so beautiful.
How long did it take?
The whole thing, start to finish, Oh my gosh, I know it was over a year because it took so much time just to make sure. We didn't want to start until we knew we were going to be able to get it all done and line everything up. But once we actually got paperwork signed and we got the assurances and everything like that, we did it in about 5 months.
Wow.
The actual work, 5 months. And I will tell you, it is so much harder to fix a house than it is to build a new house.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're starting from scratch, you know everything that you're working with, and you can plan for things. When you're doing a rehab, we use the term the cow clause, because you never know when you're going to open a can of worms.
Oh,
cow,
a can of
right?
worms.
you open the wall and you're like, oh, okay, there's a whole new issue. I mean, when we first went into his house, we were trying to work a little bit with the plumbing. It's like, well, maybe we can fix this with a few patches. We could see, okay, this is where it bursts, and maybe we can bypass it. And we tried to bypass and turn the water on, and the bypass busted. And it's like, okay, well, let's try it again somewhere else. We did it like 3 times, and like I had to stop David. I'm like, David, it's never going to work. This is all too corrupt. We've got to go fresh. And he tried it like 2 more times and finally gave up. He's like, yeah, we just need to replumb the entire house.
Wow.
And yeah,
that's a lot of work.
Oh my gosh.
But now a deserving Vietnam veteran who gave so much for his country, who fought under unimaginable circumstances and sacrificed so much, has the house he deserves. He has running water, electricity, air conditioning, and is able to come home and open that door and walk into the home that he loves and deserves.
One of my favorite stories from the event day, we were talking to the family, and you could see there a mixture of exhausted because it was hot, and there were a lot of people walking through the house, and there's lots of things going on, but it's at the end of the day, and everyone's just kind of looking around. And they were talking about how they were going to have slumber parties for the grandkids.
Oh, that's sweet.
The grandkids have never been able to go into the majority of the house because it was too dangerous. The flooring, I mean, honestly, nobody should have been walking in there, certainly not kids. But I was watching them walk through parts of the house that they'd never been in that room before. Oh. Their whole life they've been going to Grandpa's house, but they never left before the front room because that was the only safe place. And now they're talking about everyone's going to come over and they're going to have these great memories with Grandpa, who's, the war hero, and the community came together to help. And it could not get more beautiful than
So this transformed the whole family. It's not just about the building. It's about the family and how they're going to move forward with their lives and this new place that they're going to be able to make memories in.
And the overall community, too. One of the things that I thought was just fascinating as I got to know Roy, because I didn't know Roy before this, and talked about him and what we were doing for him, I ran into people that knew Roy throughout the community. Throughout where I live, I'm on the west side of St. Johns County. I've met with people in other parts of St. Johns, and they know Roy. I'm like, how do you know Roy? Well, I bowl with Roy. Or I know Roy from church or other things like that. But nobody knew how bad his situation was. So this is repairing our overall community, our overall St. John's. These are people that you love and you respect, but you have no idea how hard things are at home. So,
I'm imagining that sometimes people don't want to ask for help because they don't want to be a burden. They're so used to giving. They can't fathom the idea of actually being on the receiving end of help.
Absolutely. You do see that a lot. I see that in the military, too, even like with disability. People who have serious injuries, they don't want to make a claim because, well, somebody needs it more than I do. And I see that extending into this work as well, where I'll run into veterans who haven't asked for help because they assume somebody needs it more than they do. And it's one of those, no, Roy, you shouldn't be living like this. This is our 3rd house in St. Johns County that we've done this with. And the other 2, just as bad. They should not be living in situations like this. And a lot of times the neighbors don't even know how bad it is behind the front door.
Absolutely. Eric, this half hour is flying by. I feel like we just sat down. We have so much more ground to cover in the next few minutes. Let's talk more about Operation Lifeline. You just completed rehabbing Sergeant Roy Wilbur's home, which was wonderful, but you have so many other irons in the fire. You don't just rehab homes, you build homes too. Is that right?
We do. We're working on homeownership programs as well, and our homeownership programs extend beyond veterans. We're really looking for anybody who needs affordable housing. And we're working with the various governments to try to find good ways to do that because there are great programs. It's just we kind of like to take a unique approach. We want to take a look at it and see what can we really do to help people. St. Johns County, for example, has a new down payment assistance program, but that's really helping people. We haven't been able to work with that one yet. We work with one in Clay County where we're able to get people's mortgages down to less than $100,000, which makes for a really reasonable mortgage payment. It makes affordability a true thing for housing. But the other side that we do, another great mission I'd like to talk about, is we're also trying to get veterans just right off the street. The great thing about going south of Jacksonville is we have homeless veterans. We don't have as many. The numbers are actually manageable. And I say that in terms of it's something that can be fixed. Mm-hmm. And we can actively work toward that. We're only talking about, like in St. Johns County, we're only tracking a couple dozen people. It's like we can find solutions for that. And so we're working on programs to kind of do transitional housing as well, to get somebody so we're off the street, getting them a job, getting them the medical assistance they need, whatever it is, and then helping them rejoin society. And we're really excited about the progress we're making there.
It just boggles my mind how much you and Operation Lifeline, and I want to talk about your partner, David, too, are getting done, because it's not a giant national nonprofit. You're relatively small for what you do.
And this comes from me and my military, my time in the military, and my just sense that if you're not moving forward, you're dying, right? That's kind of how I've always seen things. So we move forward on as much as we can, and I'll take a project as far as I can, and then I can park it, because, hey, maybe we can't move that one just yet, but now we can move this one forward. And it's been working well for us. In fact, I just picked up a check this morning for a project that I had thought was going to be stuck for a little bit, but working with a partner, Changing Homelessness up in Jacksonville, they were able to get us about $90,000 to work toward engineering on a project that had been dead. And now we're going to potentially develop 20 housing units, townhomes with that, and do permanent supportive housing in those units. It's just, we're building a great network, we're building great partners, and they know of me and they know of our organization as one that, look, we're going to get it done. We don't make these big, crazy promises. We go and do it, and then we talk about it. And that's what we've done up to this point. A lot of people haven't heard of us yet because I never came out for fundraising. It's just not how I do things. I don't like to put my hand out. It's not comfortable for me. I'll find other ways. I'll find government programs that we can work with and build partnerships and relationships like that. And that's how we're getting it all done. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
You get so much done. I'm amazed. Tell me about your partner, David.
Oh my gosh. David's awesome. When I first came into this, I was mostly a do-it-yourselfer, but I did not have training specifically in home building, things like that. I'd been a project manager, certainly, in my time in the service. But I'm like, I need some training. I need some formal training. And I sat through a class that David was teaching in carpentry. And as I spent some time with him, and we kind of realized that we just get along really great. I told him what I was doing, and he was just convinced. He dropped his papers with them, and he jumped in with me. He's like, let's figure this out. And he spent his first couple of years with me just completely volunteering, and he's not in a position where he can just not take a paycheck, but it was that important to him. And now he is just doing such amazing things for us. I could not have done any of this without his expertise. Oh, I didn't mention. So the cool thing about David, he started out building houses when he was 12 years old. His parents basically took him out of school to, quote unquote, homeschool him in southern Louisiana, deep woods, and they built houses. That's what his parents did.
So he was literally homeschooled.
Homeschooled, that's right. And so he was building houses since he's been 12 years old, and now he's doing this with me.
And he has a heart for veterans like you do.
He absolutely does. His whole family has veteran background, so yes, absolutely.
And I'm feeling like, I don't mean to get too personal, but Eric, your wife must be a very patient, understanding person, because you're go, 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 go.
Yeah. So she'll tell you that I did not follow through on the deal. We both retired from the military, and I had this great plan that we were going to just relax and do nothing, because you know what, maybe we can, and we can just be parents and just do the fun, and that lasted a few weeks for me. And then I just hadn't realized this imperative in me to have a mission. I was not happy. I was not comfortable. I was not comfortable in my own skin without having something to drive toward. That's just me in a nutshell.
It's so important to have a purpose. Where do you get all your energy, Eric?
I get excited by progress. That's why we move so fast. I think I've kind of created a culture within our organization that we've got to be moving forward. So here's a great example. At the beginning of August, we did Roy's house. And next month, we're going to turn over the keys to the first house we're building in a subdivision we're building over in Clay County. And so we'll have month to month, we have big successes, and successes are what drive me. If I get to see progress, it just makes me want more. It's just, I know this about me. So the more success we have, the more I push, and we all just keep on going, and it gets exponentially bigger. Like, I don't know if I said it. We did 1 house last year. We're currently building 6. We're starting another 5 later this year. And 3 years ago, I didn't have a license to build houses. I mean, it was that, it's just one of those, we're just moving quick.
You have changed the lives of so many veterans. God bless you and your family and your partner, David. You have volunteers, too. And if folks listening want to get involved, want to be a volunteer, or want to make a donation?
Of course. The easiest thing is to go to our webpage. It's oplifeline.org. The donation link pops up right away as a pop-up. There's a page there for volunteering. There's a page there for collaborating, or you can just send me an email, info@oplifeline. I get a copy of that. And, I mean, if there's something that you want to do, if you have an idea, I'd love to hear it. I love new ideas. I think that there's a lot more that we can be doing. And the more that I talk to people and talk about different possibilities, the more we can move forward as a community and help people.
Are you looking for people to bang nails and lay tile and stuff?
Yeah, we can do those little projects like that where people can come in and do some simple painting, or we also do handicap ramps. We'll do accessibility ramps for veterans who need them. And that's a great volunteer project where we'll get the basic layout, but you can come out and help nail the boards in. So, yeah, there's always an opportunity. But, yeah, please come visit our website. Send us an email. I'd love to talk with you.
All right. You want to contribute a few bucks or spend some hours helping build a house? Operation Lifeline. Look them up on social media. And once again, your website, Eric?
It's www.oplifeline.org.
You are a beautiful soul, and I think God put a little extra shine on your star, Eric.
Well, I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with you and your listeners.
And boy, this hour flew by. Thank you for being here with me today. What do you think you'll do with the rest of your Sunday, Eric?
Breathe. So for me, this is not just my job. It's what I do. It's who I am. I really can't set this down. It's hard to not do this. I get so much enjoyment and fulfillment out of it. So I will eventually be back on my phone working.
We'll try to take it easy a little bit. Get some rest. Thank you for listening. And remember, all of our programs can be downloaded as a podcast. Go to flaglerbroadcasting.com, click on podcast, and scroll down to Good Morning St. Augustine. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday in our beautiful, ancient, historic city.